everybody. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to TCR Trinity Competitive Racing.
Well, TCR TJ is the Season 13 Golden Class Champion for Trinity Competitive Racing.
Oh, let's go, dude! Yes!
Jabbar on the podium! He's on it by a 10! Gentlemen, side by side through one. And Silent, and Seafreeze gets a half spin.
Let's fucking go!
Wheel bumping.
DRS enable, let's do it.
And Captain Blade battling it out for position. Captain Blade.
Ickle, what the?
The McChicken goes around and he also makes
rewind down the front straight. Oh my god.
I gotta check the heart rate.
Why do we do this? Because of nights like this.
Yo, welcome everybody to TCR Trinity Competitive Racing, and welcome to another episode. I don't know what number, because it's been a long time since our last episode, but welcome to another episode of the Racing Debrief T-Shirts podcast, where we combine the world of e-racing, sim racing, and TCR with real-life motorsports and Formula One, a true racing enthusiast. Listen, I am your host, Seafreeze, and as per usual, joined alongside me is Mr. Camden Luca, and we'll be taking you through tonight's podcast as we're recording this live on November 12th, 2023, and we're going to be talking about the future of TCR, the next era, what's going to be happening next season. We have some ideas already in store that were pretty much finalized, and we're ready to share with the league and to everyone supporting TCR. And there's other things within this set plans and ideas that are kind of still up for grabs, as far as we're still open to new ideas and suggestions and feedback from everyone here in TCR, because we still have plenty of time to make those changes and get that implemented for next season. So this is going to be an announcement, but also a little bit, we want to hear from you guys in the Discord or on the YouTube comments, because we want the suggestions coming in. This way we can make the transition next season as smooth as possible as we enter season 17. I know this is getting aired up on our final week, the finale of season 16, but I wanted to get a little bit of knowledge to all the drivers to kind of make sure they know what's going to be happening, in the next season. This way, you guys don't finish the season and go off to eat some turkey at Thanksgiving in a few weeks' time and never return back. So that is what we're going to be talking about today. But how we feeling, Camden? We're finally back into another episode here.
We're back. It's been a little bit. I was afraid I was going to forget how to do this, but here I am in my chair with my mic, ready to talk about some big changes, like you said, with TCR. And by the way, I did double check. This is episode 35 of the podcast.
A nice number to have some pretty good news. Or
I guess so.
News. And just a little, and the cough will explain it all. Part of the reason we haven't done a podcast is because I couldn't, and part of the reason I wasn't at many commentaries the last few weeks is I couldn't talk. I was sick, lost my voice, a bunch of other stuff was happening, so I am slowly getting back to my voice, as everyone knows me as Seafreeze, but we're not quite at 100%, so we'll see if I can get through this podcast, and hopefully I'll be there for Tuesday, which I will be for finale night, which, just a little plug for the Silver Class, we have a championship that is coming down to the wire. It's a championship decider between Zionical and F1 Nerd at Brazil, finale night, So that is Tuesday, 8:45 p.m. Eastern Time. That'll be tomorrow by the time this is out. So go tune in. You might see both of us on comms to call that finale.
Yeah, it'll be, I think, a good race. From what I've seen, a lot of people in the Discord and the F1 community in general, they tend to like Brazil. Because last week was Las Vegas, and of course Las Vegas is a very polarizing track to say the least. So I think it'll be good. And now that, everybody knows that there's going to be some changes coming next season, maybe there's a little bit of pressure to maybe get a win here before the season's over.
Absolutely. So I think there's no secret that this season I thought started off pretty well. I thought the first 5-6 races or so, even up to the halfway point for the most part, was looking pretty solid between all the classes. We started the season strong on the new game. After we had a rough ending to season 15 attendance-wise, because F122 on the latter part, the end of the game cycle. For those who aren't aware, we had to change the schedule around because our season went so late. That the new game came out quite early, so we finished our season 1 week before the new game came out. So we were kind of rushed there, and we had low attendance. A lot of people didn't want to play or do league racing that deep into the game cycle, and we thought this new game would be something a little refreshing. I thought the season started off well. We had good numbers. We did have full grids for all classes sign-ups for full-time drivers, although over the course of the season, you're not going to get as many sign-ups, and you're going to have people who will, not show up for whatever the reason. I thought Silver Class did amazing this season, a great championship battle to the end, and great attendance, and a lot of new drivers there as well, and so little props to them. But the Platinum class totally demolished. They totally plummeted about midway through with attendance, and that's no secret. Even the Golden class, we had about, although it's better, it's still not ideal. They're rough averaging 10, 12-ish whatever drivers per week, sometimes lower, sometimes higher. But the Platinum class, I thought, started off really well with the championship, battle between Bama and B-Tom and Silent and Forzan and others, and it was a competitive grid. I mean, I was on, I did a couple reserve races, and it felt good. It felt like a good roster, and I guess it just wasn't sustainable enough. We had a race with 5 and less people, 4, 3 people. I don't even know how many people were at the last few, but we're 5 or less drivers. So it wasn't an ideal way to end the season, but what I say, it is what it is at the end of the day. But those are generally my thoughts on the season. Although I will say, even though we did have low numbers, there's still plenty of good that came out of this season. A lot of new drivers as well. You look through Golden Class, Remsley was strong in the Golden Class. GT winning the Golden Class Championship. B-Tom getting a 5th Platinum Class Championship. Now, would you like the grids to be more full and better racing and more committed and having a little bit more upbeat Discord, where the community is really thriving in league racing? Sure. At times it felt like this season we were just kind of trying to get it over with in many aspects. And for everything that we do, between the drivers showing up practicing, for those who continue to show up, huge props, even into the Platinum class, B-Tom, Professional, Silent, and whoever else, I'm sorry, whoever else.
Jose.
Jose, yes, Jose. and whoever else continue to show up each week. Thank you for that. Everybody reserving and continuing to show up, that's huge props to them. But I lost my train of thought. But I was gonna say that
Platinum drivers, attendance. I'm trying to help you out here. Season 16 started off good. Now we're at the bottom.
Started from the bottom. Now we
started from the bottom, and we're still here, baby.
we're still at the bottom. That's one way to put it. Now I was saying something with there's a lot of good. Oh, but a lot of times, for everything that we do with the driver show, and the commentators, the stewards, the officials, the moderators, everybody who is truly committed to TCR, when you don't get numbers in attendance and you get people who aren't really excited about the league racing or showing up, it just puts this kind of role of negativity around the league racing. And I don't know about you guys, but when I show up to race or to commentate or to watch, I want at least personally 15 drivers or more is for me ideal as far as numbers wise. When I come and commentate or race or watch one and we're getting 5 or 6 drivers, that isn't really ideal. And it kind of takes away from the experience for those who are putting fully committed to the season, for the people who are showing up, still practicing, having fun. When we have more drivers and fuller grids, and everybody there has that same mindset of continuing to show up and put their best effort in and supporting TCR, the whole experience is a lot better. But I do think the F1 league racing community and the market for league racing and for TCR more specifically in the North America market, the demand for league racing is not really there. It's not where it once was a couple years ago. I think back to 2019, 2020 during the pandemic. League racing and leagues were really good. The games were good. The communities were really good. A lot of people got the games and were in league racing, and it was just a good time to be in an F1 league. But even with crossplay, we were having issues with getting drivers and signing up for the 3 classes. So with that being said, I think it's no secret that we're going to have to do something different moving from this season to next season, because it's basically been 2 seasons back to back where the attendance absolutely declined after about the halfway point, and we were unable to really maintain a good attendance throughout the entire season. Now, we've been running with the silver, golden, and platinum classes for many seasons now, up from season 8. So it's been pretty sustainable all the way through. But I really do think the combination of the games that EA and Codemasters are putting out there, as well as I feel like the league racing community is kind of I think they're just kind of tired, I would say. Don't you think? They're just kind of uninterested a little bit because it's right?
Yeah, it does seem like that, especially the past couple of seasons, because I think we're talking about it right now, We're kind of just trying to get through this last week of season 16, and if we're having that mindset, then it's almost kind of the equivalent of being burnt out, right? We're kind of just waiting for the off season and trying to just hit a reset button. So yeah, I definitely agree.
Yeah, but yeah, just like any business or any other league, when when outside factors or whatever, start to happen, you have to make changes, and that's what we're going to do. So in order for us to kind of look forward for TCR, we're going to be going down to 2 classes for F1. This is the big news. And I think many of the reasons why we're doing this is, firstly, the attendance, declined for 2 seasons past the halfway mark, and at the current state of where Platinum and Golden is, we would need so many new drivers for signups to get back to 3 classes, but then we would also need to maintain and start getting signups throughout the season so that we can sustain the entire season, so that that doesn't happen again. And we're approaching, when we start season 17, it'll probably be January, February-ish. I don't think we'll wait as long. I think we'll try and do it a little bit earlier next season, so we don't race so long into the game, like up until June and stuff, for the new game to come out. Plus, we're ending this season a little earlier. To get all those new signups on the back end of this game cycle, it's just not going to happen. And everyone on the officials and the moderator team, it's going to be too much for us to enjoy the season or try to enjoy the season by trying so hard getting signups all season and working on recruiting, when we also have to, just speaking for me and even Camden, Camden's racing. I might do some races. We're also commentating. We might want to, do some other things that we do behind the scenes. We also then don't have time to then recruit and put posts out and then test those drivers and give them all the information. To do that, maintain that throughout the season, it's just too big of a feat at this time, and approaching the back end of the game cycle. I think it's kind of a no-brainer. The demand for 3 North American classes for TCR, it's not really there at the moment. So we're probably better suited going down to 2 classes for TCR, and kind of, when we're doing this, we're trying to think of the future for TCR and what else we can offer. And for many, many years, we've done F1, and this isn't the first time we're changing classes or changing series of days as well of when we race. So I'm going to talk more into the details here now, but just to give a little bit of history of where TCR started, we started racing on Saturdays, and it was just TCR Season 1. Like, we didn't name the class really. We didn't really do much commentary then either, but it was on Saturday nights at, I think, 7 or so. And because of the time slot, we were kind of more European. We had drivers from Europe and America, but because of the time zone in the weekend, it allowed a lot more people from all over to race, because they didn't have work the next day. And we did that for 4 seasons up until season 5, and that's when we introduced a second class. So that Saturday class that originally started TCR moved to Thursdays, and it was called the Thursday class in season 5. That was a racing line only is when we implemented that, which then turned in eventually to the Platinum class. That Saturday class turned into, which was just 1 season, which was called the Super class, and that was where we kept very quick drivers with any assist level. You could use any assists, but these were like the quickest guys on the game, and for those who raced in that class, they were the quickest. It was a quick class, and that was the Super class. Then the next season, season 6, we moved that Super class because and we wanted to change, and that's when we changed more to a North American market, because we moved from that weekend date, and we moved that to the Wednesday. And season 6 is when we started with the Golden class, which was racing line only on Wednesdays, and then Thursdays was the Platinum class, racing line only. We did that for a few seasons, and season 8 is when we introduced the silver class on Tuesdays, and that was our mixed assist class. And that class was kind of needed in order for us to get entry-level drivers who run assists into the league so that they can race in TCR, because prior Golden and Platinum were just racing line only. So if people used assist, they couldn't really join the league. So silver class was that entry-level class where people could come in, use the assist, learn, take them off, and eventually move up to Golden or Platinum later on. And we've done that from season 8, which was on the 2019 game. We're now on the 2023 game, or 23 game. We did that from season 8 all the way to season 16, and it's been very sustainable up until, you know, we've gotten pretty shitty games. And yeah, we're going to be now going back to 2 classes, but this time we're going to have our top class, which will be a racing line only class, and then the other class will be either the same assists as silver or maybe one less. I mean, which, when I mean one less, it could be just no traction, because the traction on these games are so easy, especially nowadays. So we might take one assist away, but we might not. You know, that's something we didn't really talk about much in detail. But nonetheless, we're going to have 2 classes, an assist class and a racing line only class. And this way, we're going to combine basically you know, everybody we have in the league now, plus any new drivers, and we're going to try and focus on the quality of these 2 classes, rather than, you know, the quantity of 3 classes, which was a little tough for us to sustain. So now everybody's thinking, whoa, that's some big news for you. So what's going to happen? They have so many questions, and I got a couple answers for you, so hopefully this answers a few of them. We're going to be having a little remodeling here. We got some new designers coming in, and we're totally getting rid of the silver, golden, and platinum class names. Those will be ending this week. Will they ever return? I am not too sure. If we ever went back to 3 classes, it might make sense, but for the time being, we are retiring and totally remarketing these classes. And we're going to be having our top class, the top pick as a name, which I think is pretty much locked in, will be the Elite Series. And that will be held on Wednesdays at 8:45 Eastern Time. So our top class is moving to Wednesdays. It'll be the Elite Series. That'll be racing line only. And that'll pretty much combine platinum and golden drivers, and any new drivers, put them on Wednesdays. The other
there we go.
series, yeah, there's the big one. That's it. And the other series, which we didn't really have a name picked. We have a couple names, but we'll share them. The other series will be on Tuesdays. So our entry-level class, or series now, as we're calling it, will be on Tuesday, and that'll be somewhat of a mixed assist series. So that'll kind of combine drivers from silver, who were already there, and any golden drivers who maybe run racing line only, but maybe they're not quick enough to be in the top class. They could still race in, you know, this class, this series on Tuesday. So a couple names. I don't know if Camden, if you want to go through. We had the 3 of them.
Yeah,
up for grabs.
I'll read them off. I think I remember them off the top of my head, but so the names that we have discussed, and we want to hear from you guys, whether it's in the Discord or on the YouTube here in the comments. We want to hear what you guys think of these ideas. So one of the names, and I know Seafreeze, this is kind of your favorite, is the Rival Series. Okay, so that's a possibility. Another one is the Challenger Series. So both words, kind of intense, kind of racing related, right? And then what was the other one? The Contender Series? Was that the other one?
Yeah, the Contender Series.
Yep.
To be honest, I like them all. But the whole intent for this series, so we're kind of upping our standards now because we're shrinking to 2 series now, 2 days. So the level in which you get into the the series on Tuesday is what I'll refer to it as for the time being. It's going to be harder to get in. So if you run assists and you're very new, it's going to be hard for you to get in because you're gonna have to know what you're doing for the most part. Like our standards, pretty much if you were to set a time trial, our time trial times got quicker. It's going to be harder to get in because we have less seats. But for the most part, this series, it's kind of like, you sign up, and unless you're quick and you're like proven and tested to go up to Elite Series, and unless you pass, like there's some drivers that, like, all right, they're quick, put them in. If they don't get the nod to go to Elite Series and they're totally new, they're going to be in the Tuesday Series. And that's why these names, you're either, rival or challenger, or you're a contender to, race and compete against your rivals and challengers, to be that number 1 contender to go up to the Elite Series. That's basically what it is. So, that's kind of where that kind of is. Now, it's not necessarily, an entry level class, maybe like the silver class, because our standards got upped a little bit. But basically, if you sign up, you're going to be probably going into the Tuesday series unless you've already proven. And if you show us what you got on Tuesdays and you do good, then you get the promotion, up to Elite Series. So that's kind of the idea there between it all.
Yeah, and if I could just add something real quick.
Yes, sir.
I think it almost needs to be called something like the Contender Series, because although, like you said, it's not as much of an entry-level thing as, say, the Silver Class was, we still want people to move up. We don't want people to be content being like, oh, hey, I'll race on Tuesdays and it'll be fine, I'll race around and I'll do okay. Like, no, we want you to be able to try and work your way up. That's how we keep kind of the system flowing, right? That's how we get new people to come in and stick around. So, yeah, we want people to move up, obviously.
Absolutely, yeah. Now that the cat's out the bag, we got more news. Wait, don't click off.
It's not over just yet.
Oh, no, we got a lot more coming. So, what happens on Thursdays now? We're all lonely, got nothing to do. I know some drivers are watching their football, and that's why they don't show the races.
Football ends, though, in a couple of months. Football isn't forever.
Oh, yeah. And then what do you do on the Thursdays? Well, TCR is still offering a series on Thursday, and I think it's about damn time. Season 17, we're going to iRacing. TCR is finally moving on to a different series, different game, different platform. We're on PC. We're on a simulator of iRacing. And this is the first time we're offering another series that is not on the F1 games. So I thought this is kind of a no-brainer. A lot of the drivers are, either getting more serious into sim racing, and it's been, we've had hundreds of drivers through TCR. A lot of them left F1 to go to iRacing already, and they're on iRacing for years, and there's a lot of drivers in the league that are just moving to iRacing. They're getting better setups, they're getting better rigs and equipment, and they're getting PCs, and that's, crossplay is a good thing to have on the F1 games as well. Just this way, drivers on PC could also be in our F1 series. But there's really, you get a kind of professional simulator, a little bit more for those who are serious about racing. You get a chance to get onto iRacing as opposed to the F1 games. Now, it's just something else that we're offering. If you are here in TCR for F1 and the F1 games, that's great. We have 2 series that we're offering. That's on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. If you are in TCR and you do have iRacing and you want to compete in this series on Thursday, you can definitely sign up, and we can get you on the grid or for whatever we're doing. But this is a real target at a new market, and that is North American iRacing sim racers, who for the most part are, I would say, a little bit excuse me, a little bit older. They are all on rigs. They all have setups and good equipment. They're not on a controller. They're not, for the most part, they're not 15 years old, unless dad's got some money, and it's just a different market. And I think it's something that we can offer separate. And iRacing obviously, does such a great job with so many different things, and I say it's a no-brainer because I've seen so many leagues start out on PlayStation with F1 games, and as they grow older, the league grows, the drivers grow older, we're all getting older, their interests kind of shift, and iRacing is for really a more mature audience who really wants sim racing, and iRacing offers that, and now TCR for the first time is offering another series that's iRacing on Thursdays. So we're still racing Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, 8:45 p.m. Eastern Time. But we're going to have 2 F1 series on Tuesday and Wednesday, and we're going to have an iRacing series on Thursday. Now, everybody's thinking, well, Seafreeze, what are we going to do on iRacing?
That's a good question.
Yeah, we don't know. I have no idea.
Great answer.
I still haven't thought about it much myself to what I would want personally. Obviously, for those who know, we can't do IndyCar because they don't have the licensing, and we can't broadcast it to our YouTube because the streams would get taken down. If the licensing gets back, which it looks like it could, that could be an option. But for those who might offer that as a suggestion, we can't do that quite yet. I don't know. I'm leaving this open for suggestions. Personally, there's a couple different ways we can go, and we'll use next season as to see. Hey, you throw it on the wall and see if it sticks. Basically is what next season is going to be. It's going to be learning season for all of us. But we do. All through. This January will be 7 years of TCR, 7-year anniversary.
Wow. In
7 years, all we've done is F1 and the F1 games, so we're only known for open wheel F1. iRacing has a lot of open wheel series, so do we do something that is similar in what we do. There's a lot of open wheel series that we could do. Do we go, we are a North American market. Do we go the NASCAR route? Do we go and offer something that is also very popular and go NASCAR racing on Thursdays? I think a lot of drivers in the league are fans of NASCAR because most of us are American. That is a different market for sure, but one that we could tap into. There is a bunch of endurance racing as well, or GT racing. And for me, excuse me. For me, I probably wouldn't really want to do, even though it's very popular, I just feel like a lot of there's so many great leagues that do GT racing and endurance racing, and I don't know, I feel like let those leagues do what they do best for the most part. But that could be an option. I mean, I do like endurance racing. I just feel like that's not really our forte, so to speak. But that could be an option as well. Now there's a bunch of series we can do, and it's really all open. So you can leave some suggestions on what we should maybe go towards. And it's not certain that we'll keep doing it season after season. We could change it up. If it goes well, we could even offer more iRacing or more series. There's really no limit to what we could be doing. So I'm just excited that we're gonna be offering something on iRacing because I've always wanted to, but I think it now just makes sense because we do have to offer something. We have to kind of get off the F1 games just to offer something else, because we rely so much on these F1 games. We rely on whether they function, the features they have, the release date, everything. If the servers go down, we can't race. If the updates are glitchy, we're affected by it. When the game releases affects when we can race. Obviously, last season our schedule got changed around. The good thing about iRacing is the servers work. You get kicked out, you can just join the lobby. You don't need an invite. You just need the information to join. iRacing doesn't have a release date. It's always it's always there. We could race whenever you want. We don't have to work around a release date. There are updates constantly. If there are big updates that are coming out, maybe we work around that. I know one time they had the IndyCar league I was in. I was doing some IndyCar and iRacing. At the time they did have the licensing, and 1 week they had a tire update which completely changed a lot of the setups. So sometimes you'll have big updates that'll affect things, but apart from that, iRacing has been super, super solid, and it's something we can kind of rely on and work towards, in the future for TCR. Other than iRacing, there really wasn't many options for us to go. Some could say GT Sports, some could say ACC. Apart from those two games, I don't really see any other motorsport racing game or sim that makes sense. So if we're going to offer something else, iRacing would be, the next thing that we would hop onto, which I think many could agree on. But yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And the thing with iRacing is that it really gives us a lot of freedom to go and test stuff like, maybe NASCAR, maybe GT racing. Because if we try to go to another console game, I feel like we're restricting ourselves in the way that we have been recently with the F1 games. And I feel like down the line, Seafreeze, we're going to look back on season 17 and be like, why didn't we go to iRacing sooner than we did?
Mhm.
But the thing is, though, we haven't had to. That's
Right.
why. It
Yeah.
hasn't been until recently that we've had to make the change. And, you know, one of my big philosophies in general is that, you know, don't make changes just to make changes. You know, make changes when it's necessary. And up until season 16, season 15, you could argue was, you know, the attendance started to fall off towards the end. But before that, we were great. Like you said, we were filling up attendance every week. We were having full grids. It's only been the last couple of seasons where things have slipped off. And so I am super excited. I am telling you this, Seafreeze. I don't have iRacing right now, but I should just put this out there just because we're talking about this in this announcement. iRacing is 50% off right now. There is a Black Friday sale.
Use
for the
code
next
TCR.
couple of
Imagine. we don't have a promo code, but I wish we did.
Oh,
But we
that
don't.
would've been perfect. Oh man, we should have planned that out. But yeah, no, go get iRacing now because it is 50% off. So that is a great deal. I'm gonna make sure to do it before this Black Friday for sure.
Yeah, and I think they run that deal up to Black Friday too, or up and even on Black Friday. So yeah, if you don't have iRacing, you want to get iRacing because we're gonna be offering a series, or even to do, you know, commentary or whatever. I don't even know how all that works, but yeah, I would get I would get iRacing this month because the deals are there, and that's what I do. I think my membership runs out soon, and I renew it on the discount there. Now we have more news. One more big announcement on how.
Even more.
Oh wow!
Not just yet?
No, not today, not yet. We have one more big news. The way we're now, there could even be more changes, but this is for certain. Next season will be 14 races for at least the F1 series. iRacing could be a little bit different depending on the series. We don't know full details. F1 will be reduced down from 15 to 14 races. And the way in which we're crowning the champion for both series will be different. And the way in which we're going to be doing it is, out of the 14 races, we're going to be counting drivers, their best 12 races that they show up. So if they showed up to 14 races, we're counting your best 12 results. If you showed up to 13, we're counting your best 12. If you just showed to 12, we're counting obviously all of your 12. If you showed to 11, obviously we could only count your 11 races and so forth. So you pretty much get 2 races where you could not show up because you can't, but you're still in the fight for the championship. Or it could be another race where you just had a DNF or a bad race where you didn't get points, but it doesn't fully take you out. You get 2 race buffer. We're counting your 12 best races, and I think this is an idea that originally I heard from a YouTube short that this is a similar idea on how F1 actually used to crown their champion way back when. They didn't count every race that you showed to. They only counted X amount of races towards the championship. And then they went to the way that we know, which is they count in every race. But this idea is also from a lot of iRacing leagues do this, because if you can't show up a week, you can't show up a week. We all have other things that come up, and you can't be there every week. You got to be there most weeks, and majority. You got to be there 12 weeks if you want full points, but you get 2 weeks buffer, and this is an idea that iRacing, a lot of iRacing series use this, and we're going to implement this into the F1 series, and we're also going to be implementing it into the iRacing series as well. You know, depending on the series, it might be different, but we're also intending to use this for the iRacing series and put it league-wide through all the series that we're offering, to have 14 races, only counting your 12 best for the iRacing series as well. The name of the series for iRacing, depending on the series, you know, we might just call it, if we're doing NASCAR series, or, you know, we might you know, call it something different depending. We haven't really thought about that yet. Oh, and also, anybody who runs and races on Tuesdays, they can still reserve for the Elite Series on Wednesday. Anybody on Wednesdays, they can't reserve downward. That still stands. But the iRacing series is completely different. So if drivers race in one of the F1 series, you could also race on Thursdays for the iRacing. So I'm particularly excited for this because I can do something every day for, you know, all week for TCR. I'm still planning on doing the commentary for Tuesdays. I could race on Wednesdays for the Elite Series, and I could also race on Thursdays for the iRacing series, and it's two completely different things, so you get a little bit of variety there, and I could also, you know, commentate for either iRacing or the Elite Series, so I have a lot of flexibility there for me. I know I'm going to be enjoying next season, and I'm really excited to have quality grids each week for let's see, that's going to be a lot of slip-ups.
Yeah, brain teaser right there.
There's going to be a lot of them next season. There's going to be, but I'm happy. Quality grids for Tuesdays and Wednesdays. I know when I show up to commentate, or if I show up to race, we're going to have, you know, 15 plus. We should almost be full, especially for Elite Series, because you're going to have the entire Tuesday roster that could reserve. Plus, we're going to have reserves anyway for each class, because we're shrinking down to 40 drivers now. We have, you know, a lot more to work with. So, you know, I'm happy with that. I'm also happy that we're going to be entering a new market for iRacing. We're going to bring in the idea is to bring in a lot of new drivers for this iRacing series. So we're going to try and pick something that is popular and target that market and bring in new drivers, bring in people who are on PC, who are on, you know, sim racing. They have rigs. They're going to be on the Discord voice chats practicing and racing, and it's going to bring a new energy into the Discord while we're still going to have our normal, you know, nothing's going to change. It's just we're going to be bringing in, you know, obviously new drivers, and that is exciting because they also share the same interests that we do, which is sim racing and league racing and motorsports, and it's just on iRacing. So I'm sure we're going to meet a lot of people who are pretty good at iRacing, and I'm excuse me, I'm looking forward to learn from them and what they know, you know, on the iRacing front. Last thing I think of is for anybody who had poor attendance this season, stopped showing up, or left the league, you're not eligible to be full-time for F1 series, and probably not for iRacing as well. But you would you would be eligible to be a reserve driver, but the seats are strictly going to those who showed up this season first, and any new drivers first or second, I guess. And anybody who left the league, stopped showing up for whatever reason, if there's seats at the end, you'll be reserved. You're not getting another full-time seat, because then the same thing will happen. So we have to be kind of strict on that. So just a little FYI there. Yeah, what else? I've heard, I had a suggestion, I think by Bats Plus, to increase the points for, instead of the top 10, maybe the top 12, or the top 15. TCR used to do top 12 points way back when. For the first, I want to say, I don't remember when we ended it. The first 4 or 5 seasons or so, we did top 12 points, and we had a different points format. And because we're counting 12 races out of the 14, and because we have more, we only have 2 series now, there's going to be a lot of people not scoring points. So increasing to the points could work, especially because we're using a different points format to crown the champion. Increasing it to 12 could make sense, and it also makes sense because we used to do that way back in TCR, so it'd be kind of going back to a throwback tradition that we started with. Or we could go to even more dramatic and go to, like, top 14 or 15, but that's an idea there. But there's a lot of ideas, a lot of stuff we still have to figure out. But that is basically everything I got. I don't know.
Yeah, so
What you got?
I think I just kind of want to just touch up on kind of end of season stuff, and then maybe some stuff that you might see in the off season, because although the racing's going to be over, we're not just going to be shutting down. I think if anything, I think this off season is going to be one of our busiest because of all the changes that we're making. But I do think that we are going to have highlight videos of all of the races from season 16. What I'll do probably is I'll take some of the highlights from each of the races for silver, gold, and platinum, and make individual videos of season 16, because we didn't have many shorts this season to go around the way that we did back in season 15 and even season 14 a little bit. So expect to see that in the off season, and you'll find those on the YouTube channel. But besides that, I mean, we still have one race left.
Oh, yeah.
Right? We still have Brazil this week, and now that this information is out, I'm just very curious as to how these races are going to play out, because there are still a couple of championships on the line. You mentioned silver class for the drivers, but that platinum championship for constructors.
Oh, constructors.
It's kind of crazy. Yeah. I mean, you have the battle at the top with Mercedes and Red Bull. They're separated by 17 points. But if you look on down, 3rd through 7th, or actually 3rd through 6th in constructors for platinum, separated by just 6 points. So make sure to tune in this week, you guys, because there's still a lot left on the table in season 16.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm excited this last week to finish it off strong. It'll be the last time, that we'll have the silver, golden, and platinum classes as our name on the stream. So next season will look a little different. But I think I'm excited to try it out. And this off season we're gonna need some help to get ready for next season. It'll be I think it'll be manageable, but we'll need some help for the F1 side of things. I'm pretty we've kind of done that before. Now it's kind of easy. We only got two series to work with. But for the iRacing side, for those who are maybe more in tune with that, I'm gonna need a little bit more help figuring out how to work with all of that. So maybe something there. Any people who know graphics or any creative content that could help us, we're gonna need help remarketing, how our series looks, because obviously it's not going to be silver, golden, and platinum. It'll be elite and whatever else we call Tuesdays. So that'll change a little bit. We'll need help there. And thumbnails and schedule and all this, everything that we do season by season, we'll be needing help with. But yeah, as we get more details finalized, we'll continue to announce. You could spread the word if you're listening to this, and let the others know in the Discord to come back to here to review this. I'm sure at some point in an announcement or a graphic, we'll announce stuff a little bit more officially. For everybody, and also for those on social media. We'll probably post some stuff, but yeah, I'm excited. This kind of is re-energizing me a little bit for next season and moving forward, knowing that this is gonna be good. I'm excited. I am. I think this change is good, and this next era of TCR is hopefully gonna be a good one. And the last thing I was gonna say is where does the Elite Series and where does the Tuesday Series rank as far as how do you compare to the other classes? And I think because of the name change, obviously Elite Series would be equivalent to what a Platinum Class Championship would be. So you could argue that the competition's a little less because you're getting you're shrinking it down for the most part, but Elite Series would be considered our top class. It'd be equivalent to a Platinum Class Championship. Although for the Tuesday Series, it's kind of interesting because it is our second series, but it's also assists, so it's kind of like a mixture between silver and golden. But I think because of the name change, you're just going to have to, you really can't compare it to golden specifically or silver specifically. I think that's going to be kind of hard to. So I guess everyone can have their own interpretation, but that's kind of what I'm thinking. I don't know what you're thinking.
Yeah, well, one thing that I just thought of, and this issue hasn't really been a huge thing, but it has happened in the past, and I'm actually about to bring up an example from this season. I feel like this new system is going to prevent people from being misplaced in the incorrect class, because this past season, our Golden Class commentator, Katie 1997, he actually started off in the Golden Class as a driver in season 16, and he won the first two races, and it wasn't even close. He completely smoked the competition. I would know because I was in those races, and I didn't have a chance because I was starting off on the wheel, and I was just terrible. But anyways, so we ended up having to move him up to Platinum after those two races because he was just too quick, right? And I appreciate the fact that, not only was he willing to do that, but he also stepped in and commentated the Golden Class. So he was still being a part of the Golden Class, even though he was, moved up. Right. But anyways, I feel like this new system is going to prevent that because you only have two F1 tiers, right? And the Tuesday tier is kind of a way to get in to the elite tier, but I feel like there's more room for people to really be fast in the lower tier compared to the past. I don't know what you think about that.
That the Tuesday series would be quick too, is what you're saying?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
people wouldn't be misplaced as much as they were with the silver, gold, platinum. Like we wouldn't have a situation the way we did with KD this past season.
Yeah, no,
It wouldn't happen.
I don't think you would, because I mean, if you look at silver right now, I mean, Zionicle or F1 Nerd, I mean, they're pretty. I mean, Zionicle he won a race in Golden Class.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, he if he raced the whole season, I think he could have competed for the championship, honestly.
So like, and if you look at yourself, like you were when you were running, you know, granted it was with assists, but if you were running in silver class when you won the championship last season, you were quick to where some of your quality times in races are good enough in platinum, but obviously you had, you know, the assist, so you would have to take that off, and then you would have to recalculate, you know, where you would be. But you know, the people like, then you look at who was it before that? Rafa Hulk, he was quick, but the season before that, you had Tebow, he had a strong season. Like, you know what I mean? Like, silver class has quick drivers at the top of it. The only reason they're there is because the assist. So if somebody,
that's what I'm saying.
yeah,
though,
exactly, yeah. Like if KD, if he let's say got placed into Tuesday series, I don't think he would, like, you know, because they're quick there too. But you know, then you could move up and they're quick there too. So, you know what I mean? So like,
exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Is that we wouldn't have that issue because it's been, like I said, it's been a small topic of interest. It hasn't been a big deal, but for as long as I've been in TCR, there's always been arguments of, oh, this person should be higher up than where they're at. They shouldn't be in silver. They should be in gold or platinum. I feel like that conversation is now just gone. You know, if somebody is fast in the Tuesday tier, it's the conversation of, oh, okay, they'll win the championship this season. They'll have to fight for the championship. You know, they might not pull away with it the way that people have in the past, and then they'll just move up the following season.
yeah. Now the only downside to this is that now if you had you know, we had the three classes. I think some seasons we really did nail the roster placement. Some seasons, you know, the one driver here or there, you know, maybe could have moved it in. KD was the one driver we did move last season, but we really haven't moved drivers from golden to platinum for a really long time. I thought a couple seasons we had in a row, the placements were pretty spot on. But the only downside is just to having two series now as opposed to three, is that, you know, it's one less series for, you know, somebody who might be golden class speed. They're going to have to be racing with some platinum class drivers. So the chance of, you know, for them to win obviously is going to be hard to do. But if they're continuing to practice and stuff, you know, you could get there. But I think the more general idea is, you know, you're going to get better racing. You're going to get drivers showing up. You can have fun knowing you're going to have 15 plus drivers each week as opposed to 7 or 6 and you trying to win a race. Like, winning is fun. I don't want to win on a grid that's like 5 or 6 drivers. I think that kind of pretty much it doesn't really count in my book. And there's some wins that I've won on low numbered grids, but it's like, you want to win when there's 19 other drivers on track. You know what I mean? And I think we're going to have more of that, you know, quality of two series as opposed to, you know, spreading ourselves too thinly. And, you know, like I said, going back to, for many years, we've had great attendance in the three classes. Obviously, you have a hiccup here or there, but we were so strong for so many years. One hiccup here or there doesn't really matter. But you know, at this point, the demand and where the game is at this current status kind of forced us to do something different, because we couldn't go into next season doing the same thing. Because, to be honest, I think we would have to shut down a class, or, you know, like, we know we're not going to be able to do 3. It's going to be too much for signups now. So we had to do something different, and I'm excited for season 17. It'll be our 7-year anniversary. Lots of changes, new era, and let's see where it takes us. So I'm excited, all in all. But I just want to thank everybody for their support for TCR, and hopefully everyone else is excited. But we do want to hear from you as well. So in the Discord, go to the podcast chat and or hit a suggestion ticket, and let me hear it. Let's see what we got. Let's build this together and see where we want to go from next season. And any suggestions or offers are on the table. If they're hopefully competent suggestions, but we'll look at them all, and we'll hopefully go into next season as fully prepared. But we still have one race left for the season, so good luck to everybody, and let's finish off strong. Watch this week now, everybody. We'll get 20. Watch this week. We'll get full grids, and we'll be questioning if we made the right decision or not. I hope we have some full grids. Let's finish silver, golden, and platinum off in style. I may or may not be racing in platinum this week because I don't know. I kind of want to be there. You know what I mean? It's the last.
Here we go.
It's the last class. Last race of. And you know what? It's funny. TCR started way back when, sometime in January of 2017. Even though it was on the 16 game, our first race was Brazil, and our last race, at least for this era, so to speak, is going to be Brazil again. So it's kind of wholesome, to track. Just so happened, to be Brazil. So yeah. So any final thoughts, Camden? Otherwise, I'm going to send it off.
Yeah, I think if anything, just make sure to tune in this week. Like I said, we have one more race, and it's at Brazil. It's a fan favorite track, and we'll have some stuff in the off season. Just make sure to hit that subscribe button. That way you don't miss a thing. We're closing in on 600, so we need each and every one of you to hit that button down below.
Absolutely. And yeah, I will. That'll be it for this one. Make sure to follow TCR on all socials and join the TCR Discord server, where we are the most active. And until next week, thank you for listening.